Welcome to Pain in the Grass, the official Lawn Pride podcast, where we dig deep into the real problems hiding in your yard. From weeds to grubs to mystery brown spots, we've got the dirt. Let's grow better together.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you live anywhere in North Carolina, or really any state straddling that tricky line between north and south climates, what we call the transition zone,
Yep.
you probably know this feeling.
Oh, yeah.
You go to bed, lawn's green, you wake up, and bam, it's either sparkling with ice or
Yeah.
maybe later that day it's just turned this weird, uniform, kind of straw brown color.
It is definitely the most dramatic overnight change you see in turf all year. And it's not just, a weather thing. It's a huge biological trigger.
Right.
And since we're talking the transition zone, that first frost, it means completely different things depending on your lawn. You've got these two, rival teams of grass.
Yeah.
And this frost is the moment one just throws in the towel while the other decides, okay, now it's really time to grow.
So that's our mission today.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out that instant visual change. What's actually happening, biologically speaking, way down below the surface when the temperature hits that magic 32-degree mark.
Well, it's fascinating, and I think it helps to start with the physics, actually. We call it frost, but the sources are clear it's not just frozen dew. That's a common mistake.
Okay.
Frost actually forms when the moisture in the air, the water vapor, it skips being liquid water altogether. It goes straight from gas to solid ice crystals on cold surfaces, like your grass.
Deposition, like how snowflakes form.
yeah.
I love that detail. So it's literally crystallized air moisture landing on the lawn.
Precisely. And then things get really complicated when you map that onto North Carolina's geography. This state is the definition of the transition zone.
Right. You see everything here.
Exactly. You've got your warm season grasses, Bermuda, Zoysia, super popular. But then Tall Fescue, a cool season type, also completely dominates huge areas. They just react totally differently to that frost event.
And the timing isn't consistent at all, is it? It seems to vary wildly.
Oh, wildly is the right word. If you're up in the mountains,
Yeah.
high elevation, you might see that first frost early to mid-October.
So it's probably already happened for some folks up there, Boone, Asheville.
Could have, yeah. But then you come down to the Piedmont, Charlotte, Raleigh, the Triangle area.
Yeah.
You're typically looking late October, maybe early November. Often right around Halloween, actually.
Still got a little time to prepare then, for most of us in the middle.
Right. And then you go further east towards the coast, Wilmington area. They might not get a real killing frost until late November, sometimes even into December.
Wow.
This huge time frame difference means you absolutely cannot just rely on, what happened last year or some historical date on a calendar.
You have to watch the actual forecast. Pay attention to ground temps.
Exactly. Local forecast is king.
Okay, let's talk about the cells.
Yeah.
The biology.
Mhm.
Because that's where the real, permanent damage can happen, right? Grass cells are mostly water. So why does ice forming turn the blade brown or black?
So think basic physics. Water expands when it freezes. If those sharp ice crystals form inside the plant cell within those rigid cell walls, they expand, and they basically puncture or rupture the cell wall. Yeah, it's game over for that cell. It's dead tissue, and that's the black, mushy look or the brown color you see after a hard freeze hits.
But the grass isn't just sitting there waiting for it, right?
Right.
The sources mentioned defense mechanisms, like internal antifreeze. Is that a fair way to put it?
It's a great analogy, actually. Grasses build cold tolerance in a couple of ways. One, they accumulate sugars and certain proteins inside the cells, which literally lowers the freezing point, acting like antifreeze.
Okay.
And maybe even more importantly, the plant actively dehydrates its cells a bit. It pumps water out of the cell and into the spaces between the cells.
Moving the water outside the danger zone.
Exactly, because if water freezes in those intercellular spaces, it's much less damaging than if it freezes inside the cell and ruptures everything. Smart strategy.
Very clever. Okay, let's split the grasses then. First, our summer champions. Bermuda, Zoysia, Centipede love the heat. What happens to them with that first real frost? The sources call it a killing frost, maybe 28 degrees or lower for a few hours.
For them, the response is immediate. It's basically mandatory dormancy, non-negotiable. It's purely a survival tactic.
So they just shut down.
Completely. The plant essentially sacrifices all that green leafy stuff above ground.
Right.
It pulls all its energy, all its vital resources back down into the crown that little bit right at the soil surface and into the root system.
And that's the switch.
Yeah.
That's what turns the whole lawn, that uniform tan or brown color, almost overnight sometimes.
Yep. It's not dead, it's just gone dormant, hibernating for the winter.
Pulling the covers over its head, like you said.
Exactly. Now, you might see a weird effect first, sometimes called zebra turf,
Oh, yeah.
where a really light, patchy frost just nips the tallest blades or the most exposed areas.
Yeah.
So you get these weird stripes or patches of brown next to green.
Yeah.
But once that proper hard frost hits, the whole thing usually goes uniformly brown pretty quickly as the plant fully commits.
Okay. Now, let's flip the script completely. Cool season grasses, Tall Fescue, Kentucky bluegrass. Seems like they barely notice the frost. Why the difference?
They are literally built for this weather. For them, frost isn't a stop sign, it's kind of the green light.
Really?
Yeah, it signals their optimal growing conditions have arrived. Cold air, cool soil. Frost might slow down the top growth, the blade growth, just a tiny bit.
Okay.
But mostly, the plant shifts its energy focus downwards into the root system. They keep actively growing as long as the soil temperature stays roughly above 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which means, here in the Piedmont, a fescue lawn can stay green and growing, well into December some years, right?
Absolutely. Fall is their prime time. While the Bermuda lawn next door is taking a long winter nap, the fescue is hitting a growth spurt, storing energy, building roots, getting ready for next year.
This brings us to something critical. It came up in all the source material, applies to both types of grass, the stay-off rule. Why is walking on a frosted lawn such a huge no-no?
It's just deadly for the grass, and the damage can last for months. Remember how we said the water inside the cells freezes and makes them rigid?
Yeah, brittle?
Exactly. So when those blades are frozen solid, they're incredibly brittle. If you walk on them, your footstep crushes those rigid frozen cells. Snap, crackle, pop. You're physically breaking the blades and rupturing the cells.
Leaving a trail of destruction.
Literally, you leave a footprint-shaped path of broken, dead tissue.
And since the warm season grass is dormant, it can't grow back or repair itself.
Not until spring. So if you walk across your dormant Bermuda lawn when it's frosted in, say, December, those brown, dead footprints will likely stay there, perfectly outlining your path, until April or May when the lawn finally wakes up and starts growing again.
Wow. 6 months of ugly footprints.
It's such an easy way to mess up your lawn. The rule is simple. Just stay off it, wait until the sun hits it, and it thaws out completely, usually mid-morning.
Okay, good advice.
Yeah.
So beyond not walking on it, we also need to adjust mowing, right? Let's start with the warm season, guys. The Bermudas and Zoysias that just went dormant. What's the plan for the mower?
You basically stop mowing, park it. But that very last cut, ideally done just before you expect that first killing frost, that one should be lower than usual.
Lower. How low?
Aim for around 1.5 to maybe 2 inches for Bermuda or Zoysia. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually preventative care.
How so?
By cutting it shorter, you minimize the amount of dead leaf blade material that's left standing over winter. Long, dead grass can mat down under snow or rain.
Trapping moisture.
Exactly. And that creates a perfect breeding ground for winter fungal diseases like snow mold. A shorter final cut helps prevent that matting and keeps air circulating.
Makes sense. Okay, now for the cool season fescue, which is still growing happily. What's the mowing strategy there?
Keep mowing. As long as it's growing, you keep mowing, which, like we said, could be well into December some years.
But the height is different here.
Completely opposite strategy. Here, you want to maintain a taller cutting height. Think 3, maybe even 4 inches for tall fescue.
Why taller for the winter?
2 main reasons. 1, taller blades mean more surface area to capture that low winter sunlight for photosynthesis. It's still making food. 2, that taller canopy provides crucial insulation, protecting the crown of the plant from harsh, drying winter winds and extreme cold snaps.
Okay, taller for fescue, shorter final cut for Bermuda zoysia. Got it. Now, maybe the trickiest part. Fertilizer. Especially here in the transition zone where you might even have both types, the timing seems completely opposite.
Diametrically opposed is a good way to put it. You absolutely have to know which grass you're feeding. Let's start with the warm season lawn that's going dormant, or already is.
What's the goal with fertilizing that one in the fall?
For the dormant warm season grass, your big nitrogen feeds should already be done, way back in late summer. The goal in early to mid-fall is purely about root health and winter survival.
So not about green growth.
No, not at all. Ideally, you would have applied what's often called a winterizer treatment back in September or maybe early October. This should be low in nitrogen but higher in potassium.
Potassium for stress tolerance and root health.
Exactly. Think of it as vitamins for the winter nap. And the absolute critical point, the red flag, is do not apply nitrogen fertilizer once that grass is dormant and brown.
Why is that so bad?
It's just wasted money and potentially harmful. The dormant plant literally cannot take up that nitrogen. It just sits there. Best case, it washes away. Worst case, it can feed winter diseases or encourage a weak little spurt of growth late in the season that will just get immediately zapped by the next freeze.
Right, so stop feeding warm season grass once it goes dormant. Simple enough.
Yes. Now flip it entirely for fescue and other cool season types.
Okay, here we go. We hear that the late fall feeding, the winterizer for fescue, is actually the most important fertilizer application of the entire year. Why is that specific timing late fall so critical, more than spring?
This is such a key concept for cool season lawn care. When you apply that final nitrogen-rich fertilizer late in the season, think late October, November, even early December, depending on the year, the air temperatures are cold, which slows down the top blade growth significantly. But the soil is often still just warm enough for the roots to be active. So the plant takes up that nitrogen, but instead of putting it into growing tall blades like it would in spring, it directs that energy downward. It stores those nutrients, primarily carbohydrates, fueled by that nitrogen deep in the roots and the crown.
So it's like stocking the pantry for winter and early spring.
Exactly. It's storing energy reserves. Then, come next spring, even when the soil is still quite cold, the plant has this readily available internal fuel source.
So it can green up faster and more vigorously.
Much faster. Long before the soil warms up enough for the roots to effectively absorb a spring fertilizer application, you're essentially preloading the system for spring greenup, fueling it from below. It also makes the lawn healthier and more resilient heading into summer stress.
That makes so much sense why that late fall feeding is considered crucial for fescue. It's not about now, it's about next year.
Precisely. Big difference in strategy.
Okay. Besides mowing and fertilizing, any other quick prep tips that apply generally as we head into frost season?
Yeah, a few key things. Finish up any overseeding projects, especially for fescue, early. That window really closes by mid-October at the latest. You need time for it to establish before real cold hits.
Good point.
And critically, get the leaves up. Don't let fallen leaves mat down on the lawn all winter. A thick, wet layer of leaves smothers the grass, blocks sunlight, which fescue still needs, and is just an invitation for disease.
Rake or blow them off regularly.
Absolutely. And adjust your watering. Evaporation slows way down in cool weather, so you need much less water. But don't turn it off completely, especially for fescue. The roots still need some moisture until the ground actually freezes solid, which might not happen until deep winter here.
Right, just less frequently. Okay, let's pull back for the bigger picture now. We've talked about how variable the first frost date is and how you can't rely on the calendar. This seems especially true now given, well, the climate trends.
Yeah, this is the real modern challenge, particularly in this transition zone. The climate data is pretty clear. Here in North Carolina, the average date of the first fall frost is arriving later than it used to.
How much later?
On average, somewhere between 1 to 2 weeks later than it was, say, 50 years ago.
Wow, that's significant.
It is. And while a longer growing season might sound good on paper, it also creates these really stressful temperature swings.
You mean like you get a hard frost in November that tells your Bermuda lawn, go dormant?
Right, signal received.
And then 2 weeks later in December, suddenly it's 70 degrees for a week.
Exactly. And the plant gets confused. It gets a dormancy signal, then maybe a weak growth signal if it warms up enough, then boom, another freeze and dormancy signal. That stop, start, stop is incredibly draining on the plant's stored energy reserves.
Making it weaker heading into spring.
Definitely weaker and more vulnerable to winter damage or slow recovery come springtime.
So it really underlines the point. Now more than ever, you have to manage based on the current local forecast, the actual soil temps, not just, oh, it's Thanksgiving time for the last mow. That old advice might be weeks off now.
Completely off. You're managing based on real-time conditions and the specific needs of your grass type and your microclimate. Forget the old calendar rules of thumb.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows the first frost isn't an ending, is it? It's more like a major turning point, a fork in the road.
Absolutely. And understanding which road your lawn takes, the summer lover heading for a long nap, or the cool weather fan gearing up for its best season, lets you work with its natural rhythm.
Supporting its strategy instead of fighting it.
Right. And ultimately, this all connects back to the payoff everyone wants. A healthy green lawn next spring. The care you take now, or the damage you avoid, especially that crucial stay off the frost rule, directly impacts how well and how quickly your lawn bounces back.
So the final thought maybe is about patience and protection, especially for those warm season lawns. When your Bermuda or Zoysia turns brown, it's easy to forget about it. But protecting that dormant crown now is like protecting your investment for next year.
It absolutely is. Because remember, those warm season grasses aren't going to start greening up again until the soil itself consistently gets warm. We're talking maybe 65 degrees Fahrenheit for Bermuda, closer to 70 for Zoysia to really get going. That could be late April or May.
A long time to wait.
A very long time. So protect that sleeping grass now. Don't ruin 6 months of potential beauty with one careless walk across the lawn on a frosty morning. Protect the crown.
Thank you for listening to the Pain in the Grass podcast, sponsored by Lawn Pride of North Charlotte, Huntersville, your go-to name in turf care for homeowners and businesses seeking beauty, quality, and reliability, powered by family and fueled by passion. Until next time, make sure to take care of that pain in the grass.